Welcome back, everybody, to the Kenny Wallace Show, brought to you by JEGS, the leader in high-performance aftermarket car parts. Go to jegs.com for anything you need for your vehicle. Well, today's the biggest day in the Kenny Wallace Show. We've grown so much. It's a big day because we are finally going to interview somebody right here, right now. Our first guest is the owner of the World Wide Technology Raceway, Curtis Francois. Curtis, welcome.
Great to be with you, Kenny. How about this? The first two guys being utilizing the streaming application here are both from St. Louis. You know, we're leading the way into the future of racing here.
You know, you're exactly right. Us men of age, we're like, what do you mean we can do an interview sitting in our businesses? We don't have to go anywhere. And you're right. I really like that. So I was talking to my wife, Kim, last night, and I said, you know, it's a big deal interviewing Curtis. I said, do you think it would be okay if I asked him about his name? Curtis, I just love your name. And my wife said it would be appropriate. So Curtis Francois, I want to introduce you in front of the crowd one day. Where did that last name come from in your family?
Well, you know, Kenny, it's a great story. So my grandfather was from Belgium. So most people think I was from France, but the family was. But my grandfather was from Belgium, and like so many, he came over right before World War I and brought the Francois name with him, and wouldn't be here without his efforts to get on that boat back then and come to the New World here. So it was just great family history there.
Well, that is interesting. I love that name. Well, let's get right to it. We're going to do the show a little different. We're going to go for the exciting stuff, and then I want to go to the background of you purchasing, you know, the racetrack and, you know, what's going on in that timeline. But let's start with last year. I know that you and your team worked extremely hard for years and years to get to the pinnacle, which is the NASCAR Cup Series. I want to know that moment in time, a year ago, year and a half ago, whenever it was, who called you from NASCAR? What was it like when you found out that your team was going to get that NASCAR Cup race?
Well, Kenny, you know, it was such a process. It went on for a long period, and frankly, I never asked for a Cup date. But boy, oh boy, was I making sure that we were doing everything that would make St. Louis look attractive as an alternative site for a new Cup date. And so as I was working with Ben Kennedy and his team to really cover a lot of the different bases, it really just kind of grew organically. But I did finally get that call that said, hey, we need to start talking. And that's really when you get that call, that was the one where I knew that we were headed for uncharted territory, and we just have never looked back from that. And just thrilled to be a part of the NASCAR family with the Cup Series, and certainly doing everything we can do to do the brand proud this 75th anniversary year.
Is it fair to say that you really showed up during that Bommarito IndyCar race? I saw it on national TV. It was standing room only. Of course, our 7-time champion, Jimmy Johnson, he made a big deal out about it on social media. Do you feel like that IndyCar race where you were standing room only, was that a big deal for you?
No doubt that IndyCar race was another validator that the St. Louis market was hungry for racing. When fans show up like that, there's just no doubt that there is depth to the market, and we had a big crowd. You know, stands were full. That's not the easiest thing to do these days, and certainly there was work done in advance of that. So with the NASCAR Truck Series, we were putting big crowds in the stands for those. That honestly led to the IndyCar race, which then led to, I think, our Cup date. So boy, it's just been over the years. It's step by step by step, without just swinging for the fences. We just try not to ever do that. We want to make sure that we're building a very firm foundation. We got all the pieces right now that really set us up for the future to just see what can be done in a market that is just really a motorsports market. And I think we're demonstrating that.
One thing I've always told, Mike Helton, Steve Phelps, everybody at NASCAR, is I remind them that St. Louis is the home of Anheuser-Busch, McDonnell Douglas, Monsanto, Ralston Purina, now Enterprise Rental Car. Is it fair to say that besides it's racing country, because we have so many racetracks around here, whether it's local racetracks, but it seems to me like St. Louis is a viable business site too. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, you're absolutely right, Kenny. And one thing that I'm proud of is that you can never count St. Louis out. There is so much depth here as far as the business world goes and quality people. It's a city that I think anyone would be proud to live in when you know what it's all about. And it's just great to see. I mean, you got to think about St. Louis at the turn of the century, around the World's Fair back in those days.
Yes.
We were the number 4 city in the country. And as a matter of fact, just a little history lesson here for those that don't know, we were one of the very first cities to host a race of any sort. So there was a race that was hosted, sponsored by, of all things, Anheuser-Busch, back in 1904 at the World's Fair. So we got some deep history that I had to dig deep to find. But as a fellow race fan and a racer, hey, now you got a little bit more information about St. Louis to share.
One thing that I've noticed over the last couple years is that, we lost the St. Louis Rams football team. And it seemed like the city said, okay, we got to get on our horse and we got to go here. And now it seems like, now we have the World Wide Technology Raceway that's got a cup date, and that's big. But now we have STL City, which is a big deal, our soccer team. Now the Battlehawks are back, which they're putting in 38,000 people at the Dome. We've got the St. Louis Blues. We've got the St. Louis Cardinals. Are you and your team, are you all working as one? Are you in touch with all the sports? I mean, it seems like we got so much sports in St. Louis now.
Certainly, we talk with all the team owners and their staff and try to coordinate around wherever it makes sense. We certainly want to make sure that we're doing our part to be good partners with the other big teams. I can tell you, as we were working hard on attracting a cup date, Bill DeWitt, Tom Stillman, the Taylors, all were part of meetings that we held with NASCAR as we were pitching St. Louis. So that camaraderie is huge in St. Louis. And I got to just tell you, Kenny, and I bet you agree, that St. Louis would rank on anybody's list is at the top or close to it of the best sports towns in the country. And we love our sports teams, and it's great to now be a part of that with our NASCAR Cup race.
Yeah, that makes me very, very prideful. And you're right, Curtis. There's no doubt. I really like it when I go to the Blues games or the Cardinal games, and I know it's going to happen one day with our soccer team. I'll be at Busch Stadium, and all of a sudden they'll introduce a NASCAR race car driver, and I'm lighting up right now. I love that cross marketing. So, that's just awesome. I just wanted to talk about the unity in St. Louis because I think it's bigger now than it's ever been. So thanks those are big names you mentioned. Those are the owners. So, Bill DeWitt, owner of the St. Louis Cardinals, and Stillman with the St. Louis Blues. Those are big names in our town. So let's move on. Curtis, I wanted to be right. I got my notes, buddy. Hey, that's the way it goes. We got to get it right. So once again, before we go back to the past, we know what happened last year for the Cup race. I want to brag on you a little bit. We were sold out. We had an awesome crowd. We had the Kenny Wallace live show. We had 5,000 people. We had great race car drivers. You got everybody parked in the parking lot. 60,000 people were parked 1 hour before the race. So with all that being said, I thought it really looked good last year. Now that we're almost 1 year later, what's new for the Cup race this year? What's newer?
We've been really busy, Kenny. Right after the Cup race, we started on plans for 2023. So 2022, big success. I had my list of the things that I had to do, and we did them. We were able to get everyone in and out, and I think in a great fashion. A lot of work went into that. But immediately we started on what can we do better. And so we went right to work on an entire list of things for 2023. And so I think what fans are going to notice first when they get here is the new infield fan experience, the new infield fan garage experience. And so first time anywhere in the Midwest, fans are going to be able to, with their infield pass, are going to be able to walk the garages. And we've created a new structure there, expanded dramatically the existing garages. And frankly, they'll just be treated to an experience of walking through the garages and then free flowing out to food areas, food court area, lots of vendors right there on the infield. So I think that's going to be just a super new addition there as fans show up and they'll be able to see it all from the grandstands, but walking right through there will be just key for folks to enjoy that. So that's one thing that I'm proud of. We've been working hard on it. And certainly lots of others.
More beer stands?
Wow. I mean, yes. Let's just say you're not going to have to walk far for a beer this year. We've about tripled the amount of point of sale that we have for anything from ice cream cones to that Budweiser and Bud Light and all the other brands that we have. So that's just going to be super as well, to really see fans interact with those items. But one thing we went to work on too is we expanded the camping. We sold out all of our camping that was directly next to the racetrack. So we've almost doubled the amount of camping spots there. There's going to be bands in the campgrounds this year. That'll be fun. And then we've just expanded our music festival even larger than what it was last year. So lots of entertainment coming. Dierks Bentley's going to be there, Bailey Zimmerman, Flo Rida, Brothers Osborne, and about 20 other of our great local musicians that are going to be around playing in 5 different stages that we have. So there's going to be a race. There's going to be a music festival. We've got the 5K, Jackie Joyner-Kersey's 5K. First time she's ever had one on Saturday with Jackie, 6-time Olympic medal winner. She's going to be handing out the medals. So that's going to be a great opportunity for those guys who want to walk.
Pride of St. Louis, Jackie Joyner-Kersey.
Yes. Just a dear person, and cannot wait to honor her in that way. And, one thing for those that are walkers, you're going to be able to bring your pet along, mainly dogs. I don't think anybody walking their cats, but, mainly dogs and that are going to be also have a medal for the dog that makes the walk, right? So just making sure that we're including everyone there.
Yeah, Curtis, it sounds to me like you're creating a complete experience. Dierks Bentley, music, racing. We've got a lot more than just a racetrack. That's what you're really focusing on. And I see that seems to be the new deal throughout all of racing. I like what I see at Phoenix, Richmond. Come and spend, the whole weekend at World Wide Technology Raceway, because we have more than just a race.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The race is the superstar. And there's no doubt that the race here last year was unbelievable. You had the drama with Denny and Ross going on.
What a show!
What a show! You know, the slide job there at the end with Joey and Kyle was just unbelievable. Great winner with Joey. And that was something, hey, you don't know until you see it. I'd never seen a Cup car race on my track until that weekend.
Good point.
And yeah. And so, you know, talk about going to Vegas and putting all your chips in. We had not seen what was going to happen until we got those Cup cars on the track. And it turned out fantastic. We were seeing that 2 and 3 wide racing that we love to see. And, you know, I think this year will just be another great example. So Cup race, clearly the show. But what I like is that there's no downtime. There's something going all the time. So, hey, you want to go get some food, listen to a little music, come back to the race. You can do all of those different things. Pre-race special. You and I got to spend a little time on the stage, had some fun with that, huge crowd. So that was just, you know, a lot of those things that are just entertainment. This is a happening. This event is a happening in St. Louis. And we just want to make sure as the fans come out, they feel like, one, they got their entertainment dollars worth. But more important for me is making sure that they're having that opportunity to make a memory with their family and take something away with them.
Yeah, and I agree with you 110%. I know last year for the Cup race, I got there at 6 in the morning, helping do some TV, but it was just like people were going and doing all day long because you had so many activities. And I like it that your team takes the pride in keeping the fans entertained, whether it's on the big screen. That's what I like is you got a lot of big screens, keeping the fans knowledgeable, what's happening, where it's happening. And that kind of leads me into this little segment too. World Wide Technology Raceway is way more than just the oval track. You know, I see, you know, the go-kart track, which I know is not in action during the Cup weekend, but I love your go-kart track. It's a real one right in the middle of the racetrack. You have road course. You have NHRA drag racing. You've really built a racing complex there.
Yeah, and that was, I think, you know, part of the vision back in 2011 when I was looking at the facility. And frankly, I just couldn't believe that it had closed. But I was looking at it through the eyes of a St. Louisan because I knew that the support was there. We just needed to package all that we had in a way that was, one, fully being used and utilized, but also, you know, we knew we had the fans. So it starts, Kenny, with, you know, the NHRA drag racing happening. And I opened the gates in 2012, and we were all but sold out in the first year. You got to remember, I'd never owned a racetrack before, and now I'm dealing with a sellout crowd. So talk about baptism by fire. It was absolutely that. But we got it done. And there was a lot of grace, I think, given to us by the fans for our first year. And always since then, I've made that commitment that every time a fan comes back each year, they're going to see that we continue to lean into the facility and really just continue to make it better every year. So whether it's NHRA racing or Formula Drift or the Hot Rod Power Tour, or, you know, we've got the go-karting now that we've been doing since 2013 that gives us a great opportunity to bring younger kids into racing. Josiah has got our the sponsorship this year, a young man from East St. Louis, and it's just those are the types of things where we're able to give back in our community. And this facility, it really has it all. Heck, we have a golf course, you know, so
a nice one too.
Thank you. Yeah,
big brother Rusty Wallace loves it. So when he loves a golf course, that's saying something.
It's the real deal, no doubt about it.
Yeah. So, you know, we've talked about where we're at right now. I think this is the time I'd like to go back a little bit and tell some of the historical stories about you purchasing this racetrack. So the first one out there that I want you to tell me if it's true or not. If it's true, say it, tell us what happened. If not, go, no, not true. I heard that when you bought this racetrack, 5-6 farmers own patches, like this farmer owned 1 and 2, this farmer owned turns 3 and 4. Is that true?
Yeah, that is absolutely true. It was something else. Yeah, when I first came out, I looked at it. Yeah, and there was weeds growing everywhere, and I could see that it was only 13 years old at the time, but a racetrack takes continual maintenance, and it sat for 10, 12 months, and so I saw that, hey, we had some real cleanup to do. But then as I got deeper into looking at the opportunity, I looked at what they call the plat, okay, and that shows who owns what, and I saw 7 different owners and 14 different parcels on that original 150 acres that we had. And recognized that I was going to have to go back into my bag of tricks. And that is, I'm in the real estate development business. And so here we go. I was uniquely prepared to tackle what had been a problem since the beginning. You did not have that flexibility that you needed to make changes and to grow with the sport. And so that was problem number 1 that we were going to do, solve, and we did, and that was kind of brought to a head prior to me actually closing on the racetrack. But we've never looked back. And so now we're over 700 acres, and we own, practically speaking, everything around us, so that we have plenty of room to grow, but also to make sure that we're being good neighbors and making sure that we have plenty of buffer around us and that we're not causing any kind of problems to other people around us. So, but that is true.
Wow. You're my hero. And I know anybody in the real estate business knows that takes a lot of work to get 7 owners together and say, I want to buy this racetrack. And hey, listen, thank you so much. You know how much the racing community is around here with Kenny Schrader, my brother Rusty Wallace, Carl Edwards, Jamie McMurray, the great Larry Phillips. We lost Larry. But just a reminder, I know Curtis, but we're proud of this area. And, without people like you, we're going to lose racing. So I can't believe that story. But now that you said it's real, it's out there. And thank you for keeping racing in St. Louis. And now, the biggest form of motorsports here in St. Louis because of you.
Okay, Kenny, listen, man, that's humbling for you to say that. I just love it. I haven't been really thinking too much about just every day showing up and making sure that I'm doing everything I can do to set the path forward for racing in the Midwest for the St. Louis region. And so I don't get really too caught up on looking back about what's done, but when you bring things like that up, it certainly is humbling. And listen, I am thrilled that I was given the opportunity, had some of the tools that I needed to revive a racetrack that frankly deserved better. I mean, it really did. It's a great facility, and we're just going to continue to lean in. And every single year, I promise that you will see new things coming as we continue this journey with Cup and all of our other series.
Curtis, I learned from being around the great Roger Penske, yourself, and great businessmen. We're always looking forward, and we fix problems. And you're the man for the job. And hey, let's end this incredible interview, the first one on the Kenny Wallace Show, like this. June 4th is the Cup race. What can we expect this year? Will there be activities at Anheuser-Busch? Are we going to do a hauler parade? So let's end the interview. What do you have in store? Are we still working on things? Can people go to Anheuser-Busch and expect to see a little bit of racing there, or what are we looking like?
Well, we've got a lot in the works and I don't want to give up all my thunder here, but
that's good.
I can tell you for sure that we're working on a couple of things with Anheuser-Busch right now. And those will be fun as people come and get to be a part of those. As we get into Saturday, we've got the truck race, and then we have the JJK 5K, which is happening, which is going to be just fantastic with Jackie there and you know, we've got that piece I'm very proud of, simply because Jackie does such great work in the community. But she's actually going to be handing out the actual medals, and the medals are in her likeness that, let's just say there's a bit of similarity to her original gold, silver, bronze medals. So it's going to be a particularly neat participant medal and winner medal. So that happens. Then we go right into the Florida concert. Tim Duggar is going to be here on Saturday night, so it's going to be a party Saturday night, and then it really kicks off on Sunday with just events throughout the day. Obviously, Bailey Zimmerman is going to be playing in the morning, Brothers Osborne in the morning, and our concert with Dierks Bentley is a full concert after the race.
It's a big name.
It's a big name, and it is a full, they call it a full set, right? I'm learning a lot more about concerts these days. So
all the lingo, that's going to be a big deal. So that'll be after the race. And so it is going to be a day like we've never had on Sunday, June the 4th. And certainly I just anticipate that the racing again is just going to be spectacular. So we're praying for great weather. We usually have had some super luck with that on our big events. And we think that when folks come back out this year, they're going to be treated to something special once again. Curtis, thank you so much. I chose this T-shirt today. Stan the Man. I'm representing, buddy. That's for you. Our hero in St. Louis, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Stan the Man usual. So good things have come your way. You've worked really hard for it. I'm excited to have a cup race in my hometown. And Curtis, thank you for being on. We appreciate you.
Kenny, I appreciate you, all the hard work you do. You're such a great ambassador for the sport and, for St. Louis, and proud to be your buddy.
All right, everybody. Well, that's the end of the Kenny Wallace Show. And remember, Charlie wants me to remind you that, listen, we got the microphone. You can hear us good. We are in podcast form now. iTunes, Spotify. You can hear us anyway. Listen, this is a great interview. When you get ready to go to work, turn Curtis and myself on, and by the time you pull in, it'll be over. All right, everybody, until next time, the Kenny Wallace Show just keeps on rolling. Boy, do we got some exciting stuff every day, every hour. We'll see you next time.